we will be talking about a new molecule for treatment in diabetes. As you know, high blood pressure and diabetes are the two major killers which are responsible for involvement of various vital organs of the body. And we do have enough medications. For example, controlling diabetes, we have insulin and other oral hypoglycemic agents. But the acceptance of insulin is less, so there is always a zeal to keep on finding newer molecules. In the same context, now we have come across a new molecule. We'll be talking about this, and this is SGLT2 inhibitors. So it is a new modality for treating type 2 diabetes. The SGLT1 and SGLT2 inhibitors, so there are two sodium glucose transporters which cause glucose reabsorption, and they have been identified as SGLT1 and SGLT2. SGLT2 is found only in proximal tubule of the kidney. It accounts for 90% of the reabsorption of glucose. And SGLT1 is found in the gut and other tissues, and that accounts for approximately 10% of glucose reabsorption. Now the molecule is canagliflozin, and it is a SGLT2 inhibitor which was approved in March 2013. Now once daily dosing before first meal of the day, it can be taken, and the dose varies from 100 milligram to 300 milligram. So its mode of action is like that it inhibits and it reduces reabsorption of glucose in the kidney, resulting in increased urinary glucose excretion with a consequent lowering of plasma glucose levels as well as weight loss. It blocks approximately 50 to 80 grams of glucose per day from being reabsorbed. Now here you can see in the diaphragm there is a nephron, the ascending loop of Henle, descending loop of Henle, and this is the side, the descending loop of Henle, where the SGLT2 works. It stops the reabsorption of glucose at this level. Now there are some other effects also, as now when we treat a patient, we do not consider only lowering down the glucose, but our aim is also to take into consideration the other comorbidities which are existing in the patient. So here, if you look at this molecule, it has got certain positive effects. It results in reduction of body weight and also systolic blood pressure. The side effects, if we take into consideration, the most common side effect of this molecule is vaginal yeast infection, urinary tract infection, and increased urination. Hypoglycemia is very rare, and it is more likely to occur if there is a dehydration or dizziness or fainting and hyperkalemia. These are the side effects which are observed in those patients where possibly it should have been avoided. The contraindications, that's why we are talking about the contraindications. That's why it should not be used to treat patients with type 1 diabetes, patients with type 2 diabetes who have increased ketones in their blood or urine, severe renal impairment, end-stage renal disease, or patients receiving dialysis. These are the situations where this molecule is not advocated. So, canagliflozin is the first in its class, and the side effects, as we have already talked, if you look at the incidence, female genital mycotic infections, if you compare it with the placebo, is around 10.4%. Urinary tract infection, in placebo it is 4, here it is 5.9. Increased urination takes place in the group of Invokana as compared to the placebo. Male genital mycotic infections are also more common. So also the vulvovaginal pruritus, increased thirst, constipation and nausea. So these are the side effects and certain precautions are to be taken for this. Then if you come across, if you take into consideration the drug interactions, so UGT inducers, rifampicin, phenytoin, phenobarbital, these are the drugs which decrease canagliflozin, consider increasing the dose. Here, if your patient is already on these drugs, you have to consider increasing the doses. Commonly recommended dose is 100 milligram. We can consider increasing it, can go up to 300 milligram. Then digitalis, digoxin, it increases digoxin concentration, so you have to monitor the level of digoxin. Pregnancy category C indication is there, so do not use if the glomerular filtration rate is below 30 or if there is end stage renal disease or patient is on dialysis. Now, before introducing this molecule, there were certain studies were taken and they found that average decrease in A1C level was 1%, weight loss they could achieve up to 5 to 10 pounds weight loss. It also resulted in fall in systolic blood pressure approximately 4%, increased HDL approximately 7.6%, which is a beneficial effect, and it lowered down the LDL by 11.7%, and of course there is a low risk of hypoglycemia. Now the other SGLT2 inhibitors which are in the pipeline are empagliflozin, dapagliflozin, remogliflozin, siragliflozin and togaglitazone. Now if you compare the other agents, means other glucose lowering agents with this, so you will see here you can see the medication and average A1C lowering with these molecules and the incidence of hypoglycemia and weight loss. So if you look at metformin, it results in nearly 1.5% lowering of A1C. Hypoglycemia is not seen with metformin, and weight gain or loss. So usually you can achieve loss of weight if you are putting the patients on metformin. Now the other molecule which is very commonly used and practiced in our country is sulfonylurea. So sulfonylureas can also bring down the A1C by 1.5%. Hypoglycemia is more likely, they do cause hypoglycemia, and of course there is a gain in weight. So that is not a desirable effect. If you take into consideration the glenites, so glenites also lower down the HbA1c by 1 to 1.5%, and there is no hypoglycemia, and there is a gain in the weight. So SGLT2 inhibitors, now here you can see the A1C lowering is 1%, but hypoglycemia is not seen, and weight loss, which is a beneficial effect, is observed with SGLT2 inhibitors. Then your thiazolidinediones, again here also you can see average A1C lowering effect is 0.5 to 1.4%. This also doesn't cause any hypoglycemic events, but weight gain is another undesirable effect of the thiazolidinediones. Alpha glucosidase inhibitors, they can also lower down to some extent A1C by 0.5 to 0.8%. They too do not result in hypoglycemia, and they are weight neutral, and so also the DPP4 inhibitors. Thank you. तो बहुत छोटा हो गया.